every single day. This ain't no shade, this ain't no flex. Just make sure you tune to the RPX. Stay dropping jewels all on the airwaves. Keep sitting 100 like every single day. RPX. Yeah, just the RPX where you can sit back and catch a vibe at. But your mind gotta be open like a surgeon with a scalpel. Mixed with the tips that can help with the mental, also the spiritual, and even the physical. The way she break it down, you don't need a visual. Always keep it fair and also critical. Everything is clear, ain't no need for subliminals. Growth is essential, the love is not rental. You might be perplexed, but it's so simple. If you wanna know how you can interact, just hit the IG or the Glock or where it at. So come get involved, it don't even cost. Just hit the DM if you need to talk. So all my good people out there, stay blessed and make sure you tune in to the RPX. This ain't no shade, this ain't no flex. Just make sure you tune to the RPX. Stay dropping jewels all on the airways. Keep sitting 100 like every single day. This ain't no shade, this ain't no flex. Just make sure you tune to the RPX. Stay dropping jewels all on the airways. Keep sitting 100 like every single day. RPX.
We are here on the X Radio, where you can find us Thursdays at 6 p.m. and always on the Glock Aware YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe because there's like 20 different shows you can check out. Pretty dope. I'm your host, the RPX, Rosie Porter, and today is another, well, we try to keep it fairly regular. We try to do it monthly, a financial wellness segment, because of course part of mental health is to be well-rounded in all areas, and finances can really screw up your head. So, we want to provide some thought-provoking gems for you, and hopefully maybe alleviate some items you have on your plate, or interest you in some opportunity, perhaps. You never know. But what's up, Lakar?
Peace. What's up? What's good?
That's good. If you are new to the financial wellness segment, this is Lakar Hamilton. You can find him at My Mortgage Maverick. Everything, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So, what's up with you? How are you? It's been a while.
I'm blessed. Yes. Thank you for having me back on the show.
Of course.
Things are good. Things are great. The market is doing good. You learn something new every day, if you're blessed to be able to do that. So, I'm just taking it day by day and enjoying the blessings that come our way.
Mm-hmm. As you should, live in the present moment and enjoy.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to learn today?
Absolutely. Just a few basics in terms of financial wellness, right? We wanted to focus on and kind of think of like where to start with, making that decision to get into financial wellness. One of the first things that I wanted to touch on very simply is, anybody that makes that decision to go ahead and change their life financially, that's a positive step, right? So your financial wellness should be looked at and viewed and treated just like you do with your own personal health and wellness, right? So your mental wellness, your physical wellness, all of those things intertwine with one another. So being conscious of that is a very big step, number one. Number two, it's all about setting yourself up properly to maneuver into phases, right? One of the biggest things that I'm well aware of, and that I'm sure most people are well aware of as well, is nothing really happens overnight.
Right, but we live in a microwave society where people get discouraged so easily if it's not instantly gratified. So, a lot of people never reach that end goal of, that whole growth pattern.
Right. Yeah, and with that, I'm so glad that you said that, right? The segue to that, or the caveat to that, is you have to truly start with the mental, You have to mentally prepare yourself for what you're about to get involved in, right? So you have to be able to tell yourself, okay, this is going to take some patience. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some research. It's going to take some implementation. Once you properly get yourself geared up for what you're trying to accomplish, then things hopefully should go a little bit smoother, right? But if like you said, being that we are in a microwave type of era nowadays, the Insta era, right? Insta, right? We have to take that out of the equation, right? Because unfortunately, as much as things are advertised that way, instant approval, instant this, instant that, when you're dealing with what we call big ticket items, right? Big ticket items are anything from a house down to new furniture, right? These big ticket items are never really an instant approval. There's always some background paperwork and a background check that has to go into that before you receive anything, right? So when you're making a decision to make these positive changes in your life and for your lifestyle, patience is the very first thing that should be addressed. You need to know that it's not going to happen overnight. It's not something that's going to happen right away. It's going to take some time to do what's necessary for you to accomplish what you need, right?
I always say there's two types of hustlers. The hustlers that hustle for that new pair of Jordans, and then there's the hustlers that, want the long term. They get out and go do whatever it was that they wanted to, complete.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people get stuck in that parking lot of, I want the friggin' new Jordans every week,
Right. So, very, very well said, right? So, in my childhood and growing up in my era, right, we had there was a term that was always used, which was slow money, right? So, like they say, slow money is better than no money, right? So, if you're in that mentality, or if you're developing that mentality, like, all right, I'm going to develop this slow money, then that's the right way to be, because everything that you really want to hold on to is something that's going to be a long-term thing, right? For the guy that's hustling just to get the Jordans, all right, cool. That person, more than anything, is probably just an opportunist that's looking for the first wave that they can get on. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with that either. If it works for that person, then salute to that person for making it work for them. But, when we're talking establishing credit, when we're talking buying a house, when we're talking buying a long-term investment, those things are just that. They're long-term, big-ticket items that you got to put some work into. You're gonna have to put some work into that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the body. You're not gonna wake up tomorrow and lose 50 pounds.
Come on, aren't we going to get our gym memberships on New Year's, and we're going to go the first day, and we're going to come back like beach body, right? Instantaneous.
In a perfect world, right?
But but people go gun ho, and then they're paying for a gym membership that they don't even use months later, right? Right. That's the reality.
It's so crazy. That's the crazy. It's crazy that you brought that up too, because nowadays gym memberships are so cheap, where they're at what, $10 a month?
Right.
Right? You're investing $10 a month, but people get so discouraged because of that microwave mentality that they'll blame it on the $10. I really don't need to spend this $10 a month to go to this gym. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for you to learn more about yourself, learn your limitations, what you can expand on, what you need to work on. You know what I'm saying? So those things right there play a big part in learning self, knowledge of self.
Yeah, I mean, well, and it creates discipline. You either have it or you don't, and you can create it. Yes. And you can easily lose it too. Yes, I agree. Right. Right. I used to be a gym rat, not so much in recent times, so you can lose it. But if you if you are disciplined and you're serious about it, you can make it happen. It's who's holding you back? You, right?
Right. Right. So, all of those same components apply to financial wellness as well. A lot of people will use the same type of distractions to justify why they're not where they want to be, or something's holding them up. Everything is going to take some kind of time. You know what I mean? If you're a person that's paying a fine off, you have to make that payment in installments. All right, you have a goal. Let me make these payments, and 10 months from now or 12 months from now, my fine will be paid off, and I'll be free of that burden.
But if you never start, you're never gonna reach the end goal, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'm waiting for this lump sum of money that's never really coming." They just,
right,
hope that it's coming, and I'll take care of it when that comes through.
Right.
Right. And then, but like you said, installments. Okay, we have to make a plan. We have to make this work. How are we gonna make this work? Let's make it work now. Because the longer you procrastinate, and I'm guilty of it too. We all are. Some people are better at it than others. But listen, if you want that end goal, you have to refocus. All right, refocus, and now, let's, no more excuses. Thank you, Fran Daddy SP, for joining us here on our financial wellness segment.
Salute, peace.
Yeah, salute. How you doing? Peace, brother. Yeah,
peace.
I'm interested in getting some financial wellness.
I can dig it. I mean, like we were saying, it starts with the plan. It starts with wanting to make the change. Having a support system is a very big plus as well. And when all else fails, if you do not have the right support system behind you, then you have to rely on self, because you have to get yourself focused to accomplish this goal. Right? At the end of the day, this is just a goal. Whether we talking, like we said, if we're talking physical, I want to lose such and such amount of pounds, or destination wise, come this time next year, I want to be living in a different location, separate from where I'm at now, or I'm trying to live closer to my job, or I'm trying to live closer to my family. These are all goals that start within the mind. So you got to mentally prepare yourself to make these changes, and then it's about implementation after that, right? So a key tip and goal, something that I use personally in my own life as well. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the 10% rule. Are either of you familiar with the 10% rule? First off,
vaguely.
I don't know. Maybe if you mention it, yeah, go ahead.
That's a good answer. So the 10% rule, right, is pretty simple. When you look at an item that you want to purchase and you see that final amount, let's say, all right, we want to buy a car, right? We want to buy a car. We found something online for $20,000, $30,000. The 10% rule is to look at what you have in your existing account, right?
Your liquid money.
Yes, the liquid. Now we're talking liquid, right? So if you don't have 10% of that amount, meaning if the car is $20,000, then you should somewhere be around $200,000 in the bank account, right? Where you can financially afford, without any hiccups, any issues, to go out and buy yourself a $20,000 car, right? So that's the way that rule implies. If you don't have that sitting in reserves, then now is not the time to buy that big ticket item, right?
What if it's now, like a loan? Are you buying it cash straight out? Or what are you trying to do here?
I mean, in that case, for the sake of the argument, I would say yes. If you're buying it outright, right? Anything that you want to walk into the dealership right now, pick out your car. Yo, I'm buying that, and I'm driving that home today. I got the bread. I want to make this
Dropping
purchase.
the bag. Boom. We're out of here.
Right. Right. I'm dropping the bag and I'm taking the keys. Right. If you're that mindset, that 10% rule would say, all right, you need to analyze and say, all right, how much money do I have in the bank where I can truly afford to just go ahead and drop 20 grand on something right now. Right. So there's that 10% rule. Right. Establishing credit, the mandatory minimum credit score that any person should have for anything, whether it's buying a house, buying a car, getting access to a credit card or other credit cards. Standard is 620, right? So 620, which is kind of low. It's on the low scale, right? When you look at the credit scores range from as low as 350 as a calculated score up to, usually they say 850, but I've seen some higher, so I'm gonna say 900, right? Now, this score is just a formula that the Fair Isaacs company, the group way back in the 60s and 70s had come together. They created a mathematical formula to come up with a number and a figure, right? So they look at how old the accounts that you currently have on a credit report. How old are those accounts?
Oh, man.
Are those accounts in good
Are they
standing?
satisfied?
They old enough to get exonerated.
Right. Right. You know what I'm
After
saying?
7 years, a lot of them drop off. You know.
Right. Correct. They also examine collection accounts. They examine things that might be in dispute. New accounts. What are the
How many have open? What is your
accounts?
right?
My credit
Right.
probably like a 422.
All of those factors.
We need to work on that, friend. We're gonna have a financial wellness session
But
You
that's
see him
fixable.
here. You see him here.
ASAP.
Student loans. Oh,
That's
man.
that's fixable, right?
It is. It's all
Right,
fixable.
all of that, all
With
of
a
that.
goal and a plan. Let's go.
I'm claiming bankruptcy.
Correct.
You know what? And that doesn't necessarily hurt you like people think.
Nah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It can work out, especially depending on the type of
Circumstance.
bankruptcy that gets filed, where you might do a straight liquidation type joint, where they just come and they just take everything, or they account for everything. You could do
What you
an
mean? What
itemized
you mean
joint.
by they take everything?
Well, with the different types of bankruptcy, there's different classifications and numbers, right? So a liquidation would be a chapter 11, right? Or even sometimes a chapter 7. Chapter 7 is where a person just up and surrenders all of their assets to the government to repay whatever they're saying that, you know what I'm saying, you owe. So if you're being hit up by the government and they say, all right, you owe us 200 grand, but we want that now, cut that check. And you like, whoa, I don't got 200 grand, but I got a car that's worth 20 grand. I got some appliances in the crib that I can add up.
I got a candy
some
bar
art.
called $100 grand.
Right. Right. I got some artwork. I got this and that. You can turn those things over. They'll come out, have somebody, put a value and a number to it, and they'll add it to, to that deficit. Say, all right, out of all the stuff you gave us 100 grand worth of stuff. You still owe us 100 grand. And then you got to work that out from there.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
So after that, I don't like that part. After I give you everything, that's everything. Leave me alone. I'm bankrupt.
It's up to that number. It depends on the number that they trying to get from you, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way of doing it. Another way, which is more feasible and more realistic for most people, is the chapter 13. But chapter 13, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to take all of the debt, everything you owe. They're going to add it up and say, all right, this person now is in debt for 100 grand, right? Out of that 100 grand, they're going to assign you to a trustee somebody that's going to be responsible for your case, and somebody that's going to stay on top of you, like a probation officer, right? And you're going to make installments to this person. So
that
it's
sounds
just
like an enforcer to me.
Yes, they are. They
Exactly.
are. But the crazy thing is, like with the legal system with probation, if you don't pay your fines, you know what I'm saying, they just extend the time, or if they decide to violate you on that, you can get violated on that. In this case, if you don't make the payment, they'll just let you go on some like, all right, he ain't making his payment. This joint, you know what I mean? This joint ain't going to never end until he pay everything. Mm-hmm. So if you're not making those payments, yo, I'm gonna skip this month. Yo, Made in America coming. I need tickets for Made in America, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip this month's payment to go see Jay-Z at the festival and them. Then they gonna look at you and be like, all right, skip the payment, but that's one extra month. You gotta add on until you pay this joint off. So, the installments are there to break it down for you, to make things a little easier for a person to pay than being required to pay that lump sum. Because with that lump sum is exactly what you said, Rosie. When you get a lump sum required type of payment, now you got a person that's saying to themselves, "Oh, I'm just waiting on this lump sum to come." Mm-hmm. Yo, as soon as I let me hit these numbers real quick. As soon as I hit the number, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and get that money right to the man real quick to get him out my face. But we know that ain't
so
true either.
I got a question.
You get a nice lump sum.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as the loans, and you take a loan and you try to pay a loan back on lump sum, why do they penalize you? Because, I tried to pay a loan back, like all of it at the same time. And it was cheaper for me to pay it off over time. Like that right there threw me off.
That's because the financial institution makes money off your money, and so
Absolutely.
you locked in for that period of time. So
yes.
they are counting on you sign that agreement, and so they want their money.
They want to get it from me from 5 years. I had it all in one day. Why are you gonna stretch this out to 5 years?
Yeah, and that's why though. That's why, because the answer, Rosie answered the question, but to paint another picture with that, right? These institutions, that is how they make their money. They make their money lending money to you, right? So if you come to them and say, yo, I need such and such, let's say $5,000. Yo, I need $5,000. I'm trying to do something crazy with this $5,000. I'm trying to go on vacation, whatever. They're going to say, okay, they're going to check your background first. Let's make sure that his background is straight, and let's make sure that this person can financially afford to give us back the money that we want, right? So then once they do the background check, they say, okay, you've been approved for the $5,000. Here, we've come up with a plan for you where over the next 5 years, you can make this little payment, stretch it over the 5 years, and then you'll pay us back. But in that payment, or in that amount of time, they've added the interest. You know what I'm saying? They've added the interest into it. So now you're paying back more than you borrowed. And that's always the case. Always the case. That's like on the street. That's like somebody saying, yo, let me hold $20. I'll give you 40 when I give it back to you. I'll give you 40 all right, I'm gonna give you this 20, and then a week from now, you giving me back 40. We agreed on that. I'm expecting that 40 from you. You feel me? You can't just come back to me with the other 20 now and be like, yo, good looking, here's the 20 that I borrowed from you.
I'll give you the other 20 next week.
Right. You can't come back at me like that, because you jumped out the window. You made that promise. Yo, I'm gonna borrow 20, but I'm gonna give you 40. Like, all right, that's a lot. Let me get my bread. Mm-hmm. Right? So they taking that same kind of mentality as to say, all right, we're gonna let you borrow $5,000, but based on the payment that we want from you, you're really gonna wind up paying back like $7,200. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? $7,300, $7,500. Because it's about the need. How bad do you need this bread? Number one. You know what I'm saying? Number two, the convenience. I, as the person that's lending this money to you, it's a convenience for me to give it to you and give you what you need so you can make it happen. And then it's like, yo, I'm not just giving you this money for nothing. Like, you gonna pay me to give you this money. So that's the true nature of it. But the breakdown and the amount of time is to make it so it's not as bad.
It's like,
Yo, I got 5 years to pay this joint back. You know what I mean?
yeah, it seemed
Oh,
like,
all right, yo,
but it's like an
Right.
anticipation of missing payments, because 5 years is a long time. So
What you
Right.
what you might
And-
be
and-
able to do though, like you could have done or whatever in that circumstance, you might have asked them to put the future sum on future payments, but on the principal.
yeah,
Maybe.
that's possible. That's possible, but it's also something that has to be agreed upon too, right? Like, once again, this is what makes these institutions run. This is how they run their business. They make money off of the money that they give to people. So even, they will allow, especially certain savvy and educated business folks, or just anybody that's educated, an educated person, to come up and say, hey, I'd like to take this, and like you said, I'd like to add this to the principal, this and that. What they're going to do for you, truthfully, is there's something that everybody can look into, right? The word is amortization, right? It's a long word, but anybody gets a chance to write that down or type it in. The word is amortization, right? So there's an amortization schedule or a chart. What that is, literally, is a breakdown of whatever money you about to borrow. So if you're about to borrow some money and they tell you, okay, we're putting you on a 5-year plan, that 5-year plan will break down what the payments are and where the money is going. Like we're talking principal now. So they'll break that payment down. Let's say your payment is $500, right? So when you make payment number 1, that $500 is going to get split up. They're going to take, let's say, 400 of it and call that profit. They're going to take 100 of it and actually put it to your balance to reduce your balance down. So now you only owe $4,900, right? But the more payments that you make over time, that's when it'll eventually flip and it'll start going to the actual balance. So the first year or 2 years of that 5-year loan, you're putting money in their pocket because they gave you the money. Mm-hmm. Long story short, you know what I'm saying? But the longer you stay in it, that's when the principal balance eventually starts getting knocked down. But early on in that loan process, you're putting money in their pocket. You're paying the interest that they have mathematically came up with. Right.
Off the top.
So how do I get well and rid of my financial sickness and become financially well?
It's about being conscious, right? It's about being conscious. Now, before we jump on that, just to kind of to finish off what you were talking about, SP, about paying something off early. Mm-hmm. They don't like that either. Most institutions are not cool with getting a loan paid off early because they lose that opportunity to make all of that extra bread, right? So if you borrow $5,000 and then 30 days later you got the $5,000 to pay back, they're mad at you because they didn't really make any money off of it. You know what I'm saying? You're now giving back what you borrowed from them, but that wasn't their plan. Their plan was to give you $5,000, but to add on that extra amount of money to say, okay, well, the longer you take to pay me back, the more money I'm adding on to this joint until you finally pay me all my money back.
And I say, okay, I have the money I borrow and your principal.
Right. Well, the principal is the loan itself. The principal is, you know what I'm saying? The loan is the principal.
I got your interest, the principal, and the students. Like, get rid of this.
You can request what's called a payoff statement, right?
Okay.
So you could tell them that, hey, now that I borrowed this money, it's been 30 days or it's been 45 days. can I get a copy of a payoff statement? I want to know how much I got to give y'all back. They by law, they have to provide that to you. And then you'll see what the amount is. So now you can look at the payoff statement and be like, yo, this joint say $5,700. Y'all only borrowed $5,000. Why do I gotta give y'all $5,700? Now they have to explain that to you. You know what I'm saying? But we know that extra $700 is interest, and it's extra bread because they gave you something when you needed it. It's a convenience fee. Long story short, interest is nothing more than a convenience fee. You know what I mean? But it's a way that this entire nation, this country, has been able to make money off of money. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that make perfect sense. I was taught that's the best way to make money, off of money. Don't spend your money. Make money off of money. Not
that's right.
Information.
You're right. There's two ways to do that. You either make money off of your money, or you find a way to spend somebody else's money and make money.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
Yeah, I was taught that.
Right. So, that amortization schedule, that's the breakdown to say, okay, this is what's going to principal, this is what's going to the interest. And you'll be able to see those figures where you can sit back and be like, damn, I just made a $500 payment, and $400 of that went right in their pocket. All right, y'all, I gotta do something about this. Let me try and pay this joint off. So that's when you ask for the payoff schedule or the payoff statement, and they issue it to you. If you're in a position where you can pay it off early, pay it off early. However, the last thing I'm gonna say about this is, in some cases, they will put in what's called a prepayment penalty. So that's what you was talking about earlier as well. They will penalize you for paying it off early, because now, technically, in their minds, you're taking money out of their pocket.
Yeah, that's
a bad business
that's the
deal.
part. Yeah, that's the part I didn't like. Now you're getting your interest, like now and then you penalizing me on top of that. That make me feel like that made me feel like you just was anticipating for me to miss a payment.
Well, they do.
Well, not only that, though. It's not even about missing the payment. Like, no matter what, the interest is factored in there, whether you miss a payment or not, bro.
But
like,
correct. The more payments you miss, the more interest in pounds. Correct.
No. The only way that actually happens is, once again, if it's in writing that if you miss a payment, they can now charge you what's called a late fee. Right?
Yeah.
But the interest was already factored and calculated into your payment no matter what.
Well, sometimes don't they have okay, so you have a set rate for the life of the loan. Unless you miss a payment, then it can go up. It can become variable.
Correct. Well, that depends as well too.
Like student loans, for example. Like, I know for sure, the more you put off those student loans, you get those late fees and the interest rate go higher. For student loans, particularly.
That's another way of penalizing a person, right? So the late fee is the first step. All right, you missed the payment. We're acknowledging that you missed the payment. Yo, we're gonna add an additional $20 onto the bill because you're late. So we gotta punish you for that, right? If you continue to miss payments, 9 times out of 10, they really can't change the interest rate, or they can't really change the payment too much, because it's a written, legally binding agreement. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But they can continue to add and stack those late fees onto you, because that was a part of the original legally binding agreement. So you signed a piece of paper that says if they don't receive their payment by the 5th of the month, they're allowed to charge you an extra whatever. It could be $10, it could be an extra 10%, whatever they decided to put on that paperwork. That's why it's very, very important
to read.
Yes, it's important to yes. Set
Ask the right questions.
brother. Yes.
No, that's good, because I was looking at it like, they'd say something nice like, yeah, an extra $5 a month. But then when you read it, it could say like, yeah, this is 4%, you know, and then that 4% over time, you know, that's more than $5 a month or whatever like that. But how they say it to you and how it's written is two different jargons too. Also, like when you sitting down, you having that contract, yeah, the verbiage is different. Contract language and just when you just having a little regular conversation language is way different. So you definitely got no difference between like contract language and somebody just shooting and shit or whatever.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. You know what I'm saying, anytime you get any type of legal document, I would strongly suggest having someone that you know that and you may not know somebody that's into that, but you can always, you know, consult an attorney. You can have an attorney look over the documents and explain it to you. You know, like we said, if there's somebody that you linked up with that's in that type of ballpark, that field, you can have them look over the documents before you sign anything. Because it like you said, you might be signing your life away and you don't even know it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's very important to make sure that you read what you're signing before you sign it. So
a lot of young people get caught up in that. Like they just see the money or the credit cards, like and they sign it and they go for it and they screw it up. And you know, I guess that's where we need to get financially well.
Those prepayment penalties, they pay out big dividends to somebody that is in that position to want to try and pay something off early, because they when it's all said and done, right? If you have a set figure in your mind on what you want to make back, right? And this is how institutions think. Let's keep it on the 5,000. If somebody wants to borrow $5,000, that institution is saying to themselves, okay, we're going to lend this money out, but we want 7,000 back. And if this person stays in the loan for the entire life of the loan, whatever that life be, the life may be a year, it may be 3 years, it may be 5 years, it may be 30 years, whatever the lifetime of that loan is, they're now going to look at that and say, okay, we're giving this person $5,000. At minimum, we're going to make back $7,000. But if this person stays in the life of the loan, we'll make $12,000. Right? So now it's like, that's where those prepayment penalty things come into play, because they have a set number as well to say, okay, you know, Johnny Jones thinks he's smart. He thinks he's going to pay this joint off early. Well, guess what? You're not just giving us back the $5,000 that we borrowed.
So we got something for your ass, friend daddy.
Yeah, we're going to penalize you an additional $1,000 because we want to get as close to that $7,000 that we said we was going to make off top. So if we can't get to the 7, we're going to get as close to that number as possible. So we gave you $5,000. You held on to the loan for 2 months. Now you coming back and you want to pay it off. All right, we're going to charge you a fee for $1,000 and walk away with $6,000. You're happy because you paid it off. We're happy because we got our $5,000 back plus an extra rack off of you paying the joint off early, right? So that also comes in back into what we was talking about as far as reading your agreements, read your contracts and your agreements, because there are some people that don't even know that they got prepayment penalties included in their paperwork until they're being charged with it. You know what I'm saying? And then it comes like a major shock. Oh, wow, I'm being charged an extra $1,000 to pay this off. This don't make no sense. I'm trying to give y'all money, but y'all telling me I owe y'all extra money, this and that, which is what ultimately makes us extremely frustrated, and it makes us walk away from things like, man, I ain't paying nothing now. Now y'all on P Street. I ain't giving y'all no money now. Right? Y'all told me one thing. Now you telling me something different. You know what? I'm done with this whole thing. I'm gonna just walk away. I ain't giving y'all no bread now.
But in the long run, that hurts you. So how do we come out of that?
They don't care. They don't care if you walk away, because at the end of the day, what they'll do is they'll find a way to work with their accountants and their money people. They'll write it off. They'll just chalk it up as a loss, but then they'll put that loss on your background. You what I'm saying? This is where it'll show up on your credit report that, you know, you had an account that was in bad standing. They closed the account. Then that's how collections start, because then they'll turn around, take your information, make some money back, because they're going to sell your information to a collection agency, and now that collection agency is going to be the one that harasses you to still pay off what you walked away from. You already walked away from this joint. Yo, I'm not paying this. But now you got a bill collector on your jack calling you saying, yo, you still owe $6,000, sir. We need this $6,000, Mr. Jones. Yo, I ain't paying them, and I ain't paying y'all neither. Like, I already said I'm not paying this. Oh, all right. Well, the next step is we're going to take it, you know, a step further legally, and we're going to reach out to the court system and see if we can get, you know, a lien or a levy put in your name. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give us our money one way or another, right? So now with the lien gets filed with the township or the city that you live in, whatever. And anytime you come into any kind of lump sum of bread, you win the lottery, you get Social Security, you get any type of lump sum, you know what I'm saying? Uncle Sam already got his hand out like, wait a minute, hold up. We're going to take a portion of that for the taxes that you're supposed to pay. Oh, wait, and yeah, you got this little thing filed on you saying that you owe them, you know, a certain amount of bread. You still owe $6,000 over to ABC credit. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take that too. You know what I'm saying? Or when you go and file your taxes, and you trying to get your tax return, Uncle Sam gonna look at that too and be like,
get
oh,
your wages garnished.
That too.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you also. So when I was when I was 18, I got my first credit card because they had an offer telling me they was gonna give me a diamond ring, right? If I get the credit card, you know, and so I'm asking, was there anything that kind of took advantage? Like, did they offer you a free Bentley if you get this mortgage company? Was there anything like that ever happen to you financially in your past?
No,
come on, man. You trying to never get caught lacking, man. Somebody caught you lacking, man. Come on.
What were the
3-card
terms?
Molly at the bank.
What were the terms, though? What were the terms of the agreement? Like, you probably didn't satisfy the agreement to be able to get the diamond ring.
Listen, I didn't know what was going on. They was giving me money. They said they gonna give me a ring. I don't even know if I was working at the time. They shouldn't even gave me a card. I went out Tennessee.
Not responsible.
Like, I went out Tennessee somewhere, got some Jordans. Like,
this is legal loan sharking, bro. You got a better chance of getting bread at a dice game than you do messing with these folks, bro, because they know what they doing. They know that they're coming to someone who has no information, has no real knowledge, and like you said, they waving money in somebody's face. And what we were never taught, right, is that credit cards can be beneficial. They can work in your favor if you use them right, if you use them correctly.
Right, you gotta play the game.
Credit card. Like, exactly. Well, it's once again, it's all about a mindset. Mm-hmm. It's about having a certain mindset, right? So the average person, when they get a credit card, first thing that come to their mind is exactly what bro just said. Yo, this free money. Yo, I got free money. They about to give me $300 free money or $500, and all I gotta do is pay back $25 a month.
Yeah, it sounds so sweet. No, I did. I was a kid. Like, what?
He said $25. Yeah,
that's
I got
easy.
that 10 times over.
All I gotta do is give them $25 a month back, and I'm good. But the problem with that is when you get the card, you know about the $25, but you wind up running it up so fast that now that little $25 don't matter no more. It don't mean nothing. So when you run it up, you done ran up the whole limit. Now you don't got no money left because you done ran up the $300. You went and bought yourself a pair of J's with that joint. Now the $300 is done, and now you got to pay all of that back. You got to get that whole $300 back, right? And it's like, well, wait, y'all told me I could spend this, and all I got to give y'all is $25. They saying, yeah, we'll take the $25 from you,
but you still owe us, boy, until you finish it.
You're not getting no more, right? You're not getting no more bread until that 300 is paid all the way back. Then we'll let you use it again. Then you can run it up again, but you got to give us our 300 back. So it's like I don't even want to call a credit card like an allowance. It's like a savings, right? It's just like a savings, John. Like you take out whatever you take out, you got to be ready to put back in. Mm-hmm. If you don't, this is why the debit card was created, because the debit card is, and there's a difference between the two. I don't know if anybody else knows that.
Yeah, the debit is the best.
Between a debit card and a credit card. The major difference in the debit card is it goes off directly what you got in that account. So if you only got $50, that's all you can spend is $50, right? A credit card, they set the number for you and say, all right, we're giving you $500, and then once you get to that level or that limit, you cut off, right? So to help people become a little more financially aware, that's how the debit card came into play. Because now it's like, all right, we're not going to keep letting y'all keep running these cards up and then walking away from these joints. We got to create a system where you learn that what you spend is what you spend. So now we're going to set up a card and create this card where whatever you got is what you can spend. You can't spend.
And people sometimes can't even get that right. They got overdraft fees.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. I'm overdraft king. I'm getting my extra $10 every time. I'm petty. Every month I'm getting my extra dime. I'm sending it to the cash app. I'm overdrawing on purpose.
Bro, they charge you overdraft fees.
I know. No, they only charge me what they did. They get the same thing back. I'm on to this, man. You see, they putting plans together for people like me.
And if it's over a certain, yeah, each bank's different.
Yeah, mine's a meta bank. You know what I mean? It ain't like the bank.
It's getting better. I will say the country as a whole, the nation, has gotten way better with helping people, you know what I'm saying, understand what money is, what credit is, how to properly use the credit. Like and here's another personal tip for me, right? Like we were talking about that 10% rule, right? Myself, the credit cards that I have, I don't use them unless it's in the event of an emergency, right? So right now, I personally have 4 credit cards. I think total credit limit out of those 4 cards is probably about $5,000, right? So like one car has a $1,500 limit, one car has $1,000, one car has $2,000, like that. If you add it up, it's about $5,000 between those 5 cards. But I don't use the cards unless it is truly a financial emergency. If my wife and I go out of town and we have a car issue, we're not touching the cash that we got. That's already used for the vacation. Mm-hmm. Then I'm gonna use the card. You know what I mean?
So I have a question.
Yo, we got a rent-a-car issue. Yes.
So
what's your question?
What's your credit score?
Mine right now?
Yes.
Blessings.
No.
I'm at 7-Eleven right now.
7-Eleven. So
yeah, I'm at 7-Eleven. My wife's score is better than mine. My wife's like 730 something right now.
So have you considered using the credit card regularly, maybe just to put gas on each month and pay it off to raise your score?
That is definitely a great suggestion, right? So that is one way to establish and build credit. But here's the number one thing that everybody has to remember with credit cards. You have to pay them back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough. You have to pay them back. So even if someone does what you're recommending, right? You get one credit card, you say, okay, I'm gonna use this joint strictly to put gas in my car. That's it. I fill up once a week. I usually spend $50 a week in gas. I'm gonna use this card for that. All right, cool. That's a great idea, but you still gotta pay that. You gotta pay that bill.
Well, yeah, you gotta pay the bill so you can raise your score. Otherwise, it'll go down.
And the beautiful thing is when you actually pay it, not only will they raise up your credit score, they'll also raise up the credit limit. Because now you are showing them, you're showing them that you are worth of a higher limit. Yo, this dude's been paying. He got a new credit card. He's had it for 6 months. He's been using it every month, and he's been paying us every month. Yo, this dude got his stuff together. Let's raise his limit up from 500 to 1,000.
You could literally buy a pack of gum.
They gave me a gold card. I was happy, and then I got out of my mind. Should have gave me 500. They should have kept it at 350.
See? That's exactly what we talking about. At the beginning
Fran
of the show.
didn't have the mindset.
Yeah, I was young.
So how do you feel now, Fran?
Like right now, I would definitely own credit cards and
would you be responsible?
No, I'll definitely be responsible because, like he said, I will use it for certain things. Like this, my money. This, my kids' money. Right. I'm gonna just use this to support my children with this card. I pay that when I get paid. You won't have to spend all your money. It's more resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
You won't, and especially if you don't have no mommy or daddy that asks for 50 cents,
Oh, man, tell them.
The number one thing that everybody has to keep in their mind is that credit cards are not free money.
Yeah, no.
It's not free. You gotta pay that back. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a loan.
As long as people understand that, I gotta pay this back, then you will be fine, right? So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying now. When we have the credit cards that we have, we use them as financial emergencies, like total emergency. If somebody, gets a flat tire, or if you stuck somewhere and you got to get a hotel room, or, you know what I'm saying? Those kind of situations, that's when you use that credit, knowing, all right, let me get out of this situation real quick. When I get back home, when I get back to the crib, I know I still owe this bill. You know what I'm saying? I got to pay this bill. And if it's out of your means, then you don't need to have credit cards anyway. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford to pay $125 for a tire or whatever with cash, then you don't need a credit card because you still need to pay that back. It's not free money.
Yeah, I think where people get caught up is what you said about with the $25 a month, because once you figures that you got the limit, so you gonna push it to the limit, and that's exactly where that's the part where you mess up at. Like me now, I would know lunch money, gas money, the haircut. I wouldn't go, I got $400, so let me spend up the $400 like I just got paid, like I got a paycheck or something.
Right. If anyone, another smart way to use a credit card would be to take whatever limit they give you and stretch it over the 30 days, right? Because the bill's not due until next month. So you got regular bills. You got a cable bill, you got a cell phone bill, you got an electric bill. This joint is a regular bill, right? So now another smart way to look at it would say, all right, they just gave me a $500 limit. Okay, if I split that up over 30 days, I can spend maybe $15 a day, $20 a day. But if you do that, just remember, if I run this whole thing up next month, I'm gonna owe them $500. Do I have that in my paycheck? Can I afford to add a $500 bill to what I'm already paying?
And it's like you can, but as soon as you get paid, you don't pay it.
Right.
You're going to pay part of it and then pay it. If you're diligent, you'll be like, okay, this is my plan. I'm going to pay this, money off over 2 months, 3 months. Tops.
Trust me. And
but a lot of people will be like, never mind.
Trust me.
After a while, you forget.
And I'm putting my wife on the spot right now. My wife is famous for this, right? Super famous. My wife will use the card, and then she'll call me and be like, babe, I just used the card, but don't worry about it. I'm going to pay half out of this paycheck, and I'll pay the other half next. If you got to do it that way, then do it that way. But you have to remember to pay it.
Right.
That's the number one thing. And I know I keep saying that, stressing that, but I need that to, you know what I'm saying? That's got to get.
Yeah, you can't get financially well if you're Don't if you
Making
don't have
yourself
good
sick.
habits. Yeah, if you don't have good habits.
Yes. Hold on, my wife telling me something right now.
Today because I paid for my mom's car part.
Yeah.
My credit card yesterday because the bank blocked my debit card because they wouldn't. They considered it a fraudulent charge.
Yeah.
They never seen me use
For the
it
car
yesterday.
parts, right? Right.
I called them today, like, I used my card yesterday, not wanting to have to use my card. Can I pay it today? She was like, man, you have to wait for the charge to go through. I'm like, bitch, I used it yesterday. Why can't I pay it now?
You hear her talking, right? All right, so the
I
scenario,
didn't even remember to use my card.
right. So here the scenario. The scenario is, and this is real life shit for us too, right? So the scenario is, we have a family member who unfortunately was involved in a car accident recently. So we family, we're part of that support system. We told our family member, yo, we got you. We know some people. We can make some phone calls. We'll get the parts that you need for your car to get your car fixed. Boom. When it came time to pay for the parts, my wife just said she used her credit card because she had some other financial shit going on.
No,
She then, well, I know about the debit card.
The bank blocked my charge for the debit because
She went to
It
use her
seems
debit card, which is what we
suspicious.
talked about. Right. She went, exactly. So,
what the hell? Because there's plenty of the debit.
so it forced her to use the credit card, but she instantly called them back and was like, yo, I want to pay this off right now.
Right.
The lady told her, ma'am, the
It didn't
charge
even
ain't
come
even
through
going
yet.
all the way through yet. Right. Like we can't even collect your bread because the charge ain't even go through yet.
Right.
But this is the mentality that my wife and I had to develop together,
Mm-hmm.
right? To get our scores in that 700 range.
Yeah.
Like the minute you use it, you gotta pay it. You really can't push it off. You can push it off, but don't get too crazy where it's
Yeah,
like,
don't
I'll
overextend
pay
it.
that shit next month. It's only a credit card. I'll pay that shit later. You can't do that because you'll forget about it, or you'll get put in a situation where you won't have the bread to pay it back, and now it's going to come back on you negatively. And then the normal response to that is like we talked about. If it gets too much, we quick to just walk away from shit. We'll just look at it and be like, man, I ain't paying that shit. Oh well. So
Well, we are at the end of our show for today. Do you have a final thought other than pay your friggin' bills? Pay your bills, man. Pay your
that's the
bills.
number one thing. Number one thing. All right. So my takeaway from everybody today is, number one, work it out in your mind to make the change. If you want to do better, you want to be better, then it starts mentally, right? So you gotta be mentally right to make these changes. Number one. Number two, implement the 10% rule in your just regular daily life. Like, for every little thing, you say to yourself, you know what, I'm hungry, I want to go to McDonald's. Damn, I'm about to spend $20 at McDonald's. Do I have $200 in the bank? Can I afford to spend $20 out of that $200? You know what? Yeah, I'm good. All right, let's go to McDonald's.
Yo, that's gonna have to be a whole nother show, just because people overspend on stuff that if they were more well prepared, they wouldn't need to spend money on.
I agree.
And the amount of it, if you add it up at the end of each week, is absolutely absurd.
Ridiculous necessity.
Absurd.
Necessity spending.
In my world, that's called disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
Right, disposable income, right? And that's, like you said, that's a whole other show.
Right, that's a whole nother John.
We can get into that. Make the decision mentally to make the change. Start implementing the 10% rule in your life, and remember that credit cards are not free money. You got to pay that John back.
Right, pay it back.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my takeaway, man. As always, it's always been a pleasure. I appreciate y'all having me on the show. Thank y'all for having me, man. And I'm always here. Make sure y'all check me out. Instagram, My Mortgage Maverick is my handle on Instagram. It's like you said, it's My Mortgage Maverick, everything pretty much. So that's my website, mymortgagemaverick.com. That's my handle on IG. That's you can find me at Local Mortgage Guy on Facebook as well. I'm here to give out financial tips. I'm also here to help anybody interested in buying a home or wanting to learn the process of how to buy a home. Anybody's interested in learning more about refinancing using, money to invest in stocks. I'm here for all of that. Here for all of that.
And folks, you're not necessarily limited, even though you might think so. If you collect an SSI check or something of that nature, you are still eligible to purchase a home. So,
Absolutely,
don't count yourself out. Be educated.
Yes, we deal with fixed incomes. Yes, you do not have to be a wage earner to get a house. If you're on a fixed income, we can talk about it and find a way to make it work.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you, LaCar. Make sure you check him out at My Mortgage Maverick. Everything. And thanks for your participation as well, friend daddy. Make sure you check him out on Skinny Big Papa, whatever.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I appreciate the financial wellness. I needed some enlightenment.
Yeah, there you go. I hope everybody took something away from this session. And of course, there's many other shows available on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, type in Glockaware, and search for the X Radio episodes. We are going to have more episodes coming up. And next year is our 6th year here at Glockaware. So that's pretty friggin' cool, right? Wow. Yeah, so, stay tuned to see what we're going to do. I don't know yet. We're going to figure that part out. But until then, stay tuned to Glockaware.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings.
I know, right?
Shout out Megan Thee Stallion. What's up, T-Ferris? Bow wow.